had some recommendations if people wanted to watch us cook a keto-friendly meal. So I've already started to prepare something. I have some organic grass-fed ground beef. I have the little yellow, red, and orange peppers that you can buy in the bag at the grocery store. I've cut them lengthwise. And I also have a little bit of yellow sweet onions in it as well. One of the things I wanted to talk about is the organic grass-fed beef really is going to be a lot easier for you to process if you're a non-vegan person. If you're a vegan, a lot of times I've made the same thing with refried beans, so that's also very good as well. One of the things I wanted to talk about is on our keto journey, we've really learned a lot about carbohydrates. And what's interesting to me is looking at different spices in the grocery store. This is one of our favorite spices that we buy at the HEB grocery store down here. Bill's actually smiling while he's videotaping. I've actually sent this to my friends in the Midwest and other parts of the country. But the thing that I want to show you is the back of both of these. This is McCormick's taco seasoning that a lot of us have been used to using. It says it has chili powder, paprika, oregano, onion, salt, potato starch, sugar, garlic, and natural flavor. And check this out. For 2 teaspoons, that's not very much, 3 carbs a serving. So that means that if you're using a couple of tablespoons, which would equate to 6 teaspoons, you'd be adding 9 grams of carbs, and really all you're getting is some flavor. So why not read your label and go for something delicious like the Yucatan Rojo, which has salt, garlic, black pepper, spices, a hint of habanero, and some oil of lemon. And there's 0 carbohydrates in this, and I will tell you, this is a lot better than the taco seasoning. Now, it's not to say that you can't use a little bit of it, but if you're counting your carbs, and if you're like myself, they say on average when you're doing a keto diet, you should keep your carbs between 20 and 50 a day. If I eat 50 carbs, I don't lose weight. If I keep it right around 20 or below, or even like as much as 25, I lose weight. So this might be a big deal for me when I want to use my carbs doing something else. So that's something that I wanted to discuss. So I browned the ground beef, the red, orange, and yellow peppers, and the onion. And now I'm just literally going to add this Rojo seasoning. And of course, I can be generous with it. It is delicious, is it not, Bill?
Yes.
It's Yucatan Rojo Rub by Adams Reserve Spice Company. I'm sure if you Googled it, you could probably buy it. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add just a tiny bit of water to it so that it can kind of soak and absorb into the meat a little bit, just like you would do with the pre-packaged spices. The other thing that I learned when I was at the store today with the pre-packaged spices, a lot of them have soy. And I know a lot of my bombshell friends, having fought cancer, they're staying away from soy. That's what their doctors have recommended. So it's also interesting to me. So we're going to let this cook down for just a couple minutes. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take different types of lettuce and combine that into our dish with some cheese and some fresh avocado. One of the things that I learned recently is we bought this big bag of avocados at Costco. We love Costco. And they were very unripe. So I put it in a paper bag, and so now the avocados are ripe and perfect. And by the way, avocados are the most wonderful source of fat to put into your ketogenic diet. A lot of people also don't understand that you need to add some salt to your food when you're on the keto diet. It helps you to process things. So I am going to add just a little bit of Wakaya Perfection sea salt. This stuff is amazingly delicious, and a little bit of it does go a long way. It's not going to hurt you. Sea salt is not as processed as iodized salt is, and Wakaya Perfection sea salt is from the island of Wakaya in the Fiji Island area, so it's very pure and very finely milled. I also am going to add just a tiny bit of ginger, which sounds weird, but the ginger that Wakaya Perfection has a little bit of a heat to it. So I always add just a tiny bit of it. I don't want to overwhelm it. When you order the small set of spices, these little fishy spoons come with it. It's 1/4 of a teaspoon. So if you're wondering how much I added, it was about 1/4 of a teaspoon, not a lot. And then we're just going to let this simmer down a bit.
Cody's ready.
He's been all annoyed because I've been cooking. One of the things that I also wanted to offer everybody is I try to plan my meals about 2 or 3 days ahead of time. So when I was cutting up the red, orange, and yellow pepper, I overcut them and I put some in the freezer because they freeze really well. And then I divided the ground beef in half, so there's not a full pound of ground beef here. We don't need that much protein in our diet. We prefer to have more fruits, not fruits, but veggies. So I'm going to throw it together.
Cody, what do you say? You ready? Are you ready to eat, big boy?
So something that I've always known, and a lot of people may or may not know, is when you buy prepackaged lettuce like this, and Bill's a big fan of this, I'm not as much of a fan as Bill is, but when you buy the prepackaged lettuce, they cut it with a knife. And since we live in the Houston area in Atascocita, Texas, I'll do it in a big bowl, babe. I'll do it in a big bowl. Since we live in Atascocita, Texas, just about as soon as we walk out in a 100-degree heat index, the fresh produce really starts to just kind of oxidize, I guess is the right word, and everything. So what I like to do is get a little bit of this, because Bill likes this, but there's not a whole lot of nutritional value in this. And then I bought some butter lettuce, which has a little bit more of a crunch. I have some romaine lettuce. I washed it, I wrapped it in a paper towel, and it has this amazing crunch to it. And we do like the crunch to it. So what I'm going to do is kind of mix everything up right now. So Bill likes the iceberg lettuce because it has the crunch to it, but it honestly doesn't have a lot of nutritional value to it. This also has a little bit of carrots and red cabbage, which does have value to it. And I picked through it because I loathe and despise this. Bill doesn't care. I do. And then I'm going to add the fresh organic lettuce that I bought and wrapped in paper towels. And then what I did is I actually tore this lettuce so it doesn't oxidize as quickly, because again, in this humid climate down here, it's next to impossible to keep track of everything. And then what I do is I have a little bit of the Mexican cheese blend. You can use whatever cheeses you want. There's some queso cheeses and Oaxaca. We have a lot of different cheeses down here because we're so close to the Mexican border, but I usually get the Mexican blend, add just a tiny bit of cheese, and then this is something that I discovered today also. I was also reading labels on salad dressings, because salad dressing also are made with a lot of soy oil, which is not really particularly good for you. And this brand I discovered, and what I'm going to do is open this up, because I think something that's really good with a taco salad is to take a little bit of ranch dressing, pour it into your cup, your measuring cup. I know if my office gals are watching, they're laughing because I never can find the pull tabs on anything. Babe, can you help me? Oh, he uses the unsanitary method. So what I do is I take a little bit of ranch dressing, maybe like 1/4 of a cup. Is it coming out? It's really thick. This brand had really all natural ingredients to it. I've never tried it before, but it just really, I think the more pure you can keep your ingredients, the better you are as far as your health. And of course, a lot of us are on the ketogenic diet for our gut health. And then I take a little bit of Tabasco and sprinkle a few drops in. And then mix it up. And it makes a really nice spicy sauce. It's delicious. It's delicious. So, now what I'll do is, and I also cook the meat in a combination of olive and grapeseed oil. There's been a lot of controversy about olive oil lately, and what I'm learning is that the cold pressed olive oil is better because, again, you don't want to have over processed foods in your diet. So I'm literally just going to pour this whole thing in here. Toss it together. And it's such a pretty salad. It's very colorful. Has your protein, has a lot of veggies, which are just wonderful. And then what I can do is take my avocado. I've already cut it into sections. And what I like to do is just go down, probably not the safest way, but I've done this for years, and I just partition it off into little sections, and then I will top the salad with that, a little bit of tomato and red pepper. So let me show you how I'm going to plate this up. This is a natural fat. You really want to strive to have plenty of natural fat with your meals because a ketogenic diet is more fat than anything. And so there's the avocado. And then I like to sprinkle a few tomatoes on it to make it look really nice. And then I have a few fresh red peppers. And then I'll pour my mixture of my organic ranch dressing with a little bit of Tabasco sauce on it. That is our meal. I'm sure it serves more than 2 people. I like to overcook things because we like to take yummy stuff to work with us to eat our lunches. But that's basically That's basically the salad. There's no big specific recipe to it at all. It's just delicious and wonderful. And text me if you want to know anything more, but we're ready to eat. Bye, everyone. Thank you.